Functionally what I'm doing.
Months until I'm customizing my pussy lips. I'm very excited.
For fucking the giggles.
Yo, you ain't getting any candy for it, bitch.
I have one round left. Just enough for myself.
It was, I just read an article headline where some dude in California pepper sprayed a customer for not wearing his mask, and the guy who worked there was only suspended.
Nice.
Pretty crazy. All right, welcome to the Camel Cast.
It's
not dead.
Whatever. I don't want to dive back into that.
We're not dead, guys. Welcome.
Shockingly, we are alive, and I'm not dead yet.
Sorry to our 20 subscribers.
Someday
we have crossed that big 2-0 threshold. We are now at 21.
Really?
20 people who are wanting to hear us, and we apologize.
We stopped uploading. We stopped uploading, and 3 people subscribed. Okay, so
we're like, thank God they stopped.
I kind of want more of this.
God, I'm sick of these fucks.
Okay. So, thankfully, not a crazy amount of stuff has happened in the 3 weeks that we were absent.
God, it hasn't felt like 3 weeks.
As with everything, let's start with our weeks, now almost month. And I'll go first. I did a lot of things. Watched a lot of stuff, played a lot of games. The things I watched was, I think I mentioned at the end of the last cast, was that I was watching Altered Carbon Season 2 because I was aware of its existence. I finished it. It is not as good as the first one. And I kind of hated how it ended, because I can't get into spoilers, but they like...
Easy thing to talk about without spoiling shit about it.
Yeah.
I can say that I do agree with you. When I got done watching it, I did a lot of thinking about it because I finished it too, and I don't know, it's just weird. It's like, it's one of those things where you finish that whole season and like I had difficulty exactly putting my finger on it, like as to what I disliked in regards to, I don't know, just the differences between it and season 1, but it's definitely not as good.
So here's something that was crazy, because after watching season 2, it's been a long time, so I actually rewatched season 1.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Dude, it's been 3 weeks. It's not that bad.
Jesus. No, just the idea of going back to watch season 1, just like.
Well, it helps that I was getting my dad into it, so that was a convenient excuse. But yeah, the one thing that really jumps out at me is AI. There's AI characters in season 1, and there's AI characters in season 2. In season 1, he basically does nothing. He's just kind of like a cool character. The AI character's name is Poe.
Yeah.
Like, there's one part where like he organizes messages, but beyond that, he doesn't really do anything. In season 2, the AI characters can do literally anything they want to. It's like the writer's got a problem, have the AI do it.
Yeah, they have superpowers.
Yeah, so it's a little I didn't notice it, honestly, when I watched the second season. I don't know, it tricked me, and I was like, yeah, Poe was doing all sorts of crazy shit in the first season. These AIs doing it in the second season, that's normal. And then I watched like the first season again. They even had to get like a hacker character Where in the second one, it's like AI hack this thing, and it's like we did it because we're magic. So that's a little disappointing. Also, way less titties, but that's not a big deal.
Shame.
And I watched a couple of movies.
I feel like, sorry, not
No,
to
go ahead.
before you get off that, I feel like the biggest problem with season 2, because like I said, I did a lot of thinking about it and why I disliked it so much compared to season 1. And not that it's like horrible and I don't think people should watch it or anything like that, but it's just like season 1 was so interesting because it had all that like mystery about like Talk and his backstory, and you're learning all this shit about like the Kellists and stuff. Not that I don't even think they referred to them as Kellists in season 1, did they? At all? Or were they just like rebellion?
I think so. No, yeah, they refer to them as Kellis.
All right. Well, regardless, like you're learning about all that shit like throughout the course of season 1, and like it just felt like everything was darker and a little more mysterious, and like a lot of the side characters just felt more interesting. And then in like season 2 we get, instead of like Ortega, we get like bounty hunter chick with the name I can't even recall. But and yet I was able to remember Ortega's name like just right now off the jump. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like a lot of that side shit wasn't as. It felt, you know what it felt like? Season 2 felt like blanket, like unoriginal sci-fi. That's kind of just what it felt like. Whereas like season 1 was kind of interesting. It had like an interesting spin to it. We were learning about this crazy setting and the sleeves and all that shit. And then season 2 was like, we're just gonna hit these plot points. Like we're gonna get you from point A to point B, and we're gonna have all this extremely uninteresting side shit that's going on. And the writing was like super limp. Like I don't want to go super in depth on it, but like there's a few moments near the end, because I don't want to get into spoilers, where it feels really like limp. Like there's just things characters do and say that are really stupid, and then we end on like some of the dumbest action scenes that like you would never have seen in season 1.
Yeah.
Really. So yeah, all in all, I agree with you. I don't think it was as good as season 1. Anyway, go ahead.
It's just to like surmise it, like the first one was kind of a success. I mean, it spawned that kind of bad anime movie. It spawned that second season and whatnot. So it got money, but it feels like the second season was made on a smaller budget. I mean, I don't know. They got Falcon for it. Maybe that's where the money went. I don't know.
Yeah, all the money went to Anthony Mackie's fucking paycheck.
That's all I could think of, because it did, like, there were less like crazy visuals. The set design wasn't as interesting.
And I don't even hate Anthony Mackie as like an actor, neither. But I do think like his job as Talk just wasn't like, he didn't do it as, I don't know, it just didn't feel as interesting as like the original guy. Like Anthony Mackie felt like he had one facial expression and one way of delivering lines. You know what I mean? Like that's it. It was like, I am gruff protagonist man, and I'm gonna deliver every line in the exact same way from like episode 1 to the fucking last one.
Yeah,
and I would love to sit here and talk shit about the way it ended specifically, but I can't obviously get into that.
Oh yeah, the ending. I kind of like the like, so there is a mystery in this one too, and kind of the reveal of what's going on. That was legitimately interesting. I thought that was cool. But
I guess.
But where it led and like towards the end was very uncool, and then the kind of stinger reveal at the end was like extremely, like it was like the biggest ass pull I think I've ever.
The problem is, let me put it to you like this, and you'll get this. So I'm gonna say this in the least spoiler way I possibly can for anyone who's listening, anyone in here who hasn't seen it that might want to watch it. Here's how I'm gonna put this to you: the second the Thing becomes a character and is talking to me as a person and other characters, it becomes like way less interesting.
Yes.
When I'm seeing it do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in season 1, it was like a mystery. It was cool. And then in season 2, it's like, this is really lame. It's doing kung fu kicks, and I hate it.
Yep.
It's kind of the worst.
But anyway, so besides that, the other things I did is I watched Interstellar.
Obviously.
Interstellar is a great movie. It's fucking 3.5 hours long, but it doesn't feel like it.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a very long movie.
I always wanted to see that. I didn't know it was fucking
Should.
3.5 hours long.
No, you should. It's extremely long, but it is so engaging. Like, you do not feel that time at all.
Did you
It's just gone.
a special like cut of it? Because on Google it says it's only like 2 hours and 50.
Oh, okay. So I was a half hour off.
Okay. That's still pretty
I'd
long,
rather accept that I'm wrong, than I'll just assume that. It's possible that maybe it was like an extended. I don't know. I just watched the one I watched. I don't know what version that was.
That is still pretty hefty length though.
Oh yeah. It's a heifer. But it's very, very good. The acting is great. There's one line that falls so goddamn flat that I'll just spoil it because it's like the worst delivery. Well, the delivery's okay, but it's just so bad. Thing happens, we're in the falling action of the film, so like crazy shit is just popping off. As much as it can in kind of like a sci-fi kind of science-y movie can. And they're doing the calculations, and someone goes, "We can't do that. It's impossible." And then Cole has to be like, "It's not impossible. It's necessary." And it's just like, It's like, oh, I hated that. But yeah, the movie was very good. There's a lot of cool science stuff in it. A lot of like very intense scenes. It's great. It's great. I quite literally just now watched Drive for the first time.
Drive's pretty good. How do you feel about Drive?
Drive's pretty good. It's a damn good movie. I was very excited to hear Time from in the intro scene. That track is fantastic. I can't think of the artist right now, but it's a really good song.
Anything you say, honestly, in reference to a lot of that movie, I'm gonna have trouble remembering. Because I think I watched it when it came out, and I don't even remember what it was.
Well, I mean, I don't have much to say. Like, it's weird. I've always been aware of Drive. Like, it got like a significant amount of buzz when it came out, and it has been forever. That jacket is everywhere. Real human being is all over the place. Various reaction shot faces. But I knew it was like about driving, and then it's just like, hey, cool mobster flick, and I'm like, oh, cool mobster flick.
Yeah.
Intense gore out of nowhere. Cool, awesome. This is sick. It's a good movie. I recommend it. The ending was a little weak, but not terrible. Not terrible at all. I'm sure I watched more stuff, but I can't remember that. I'm also already taking a long time, so I'm gonna get into the games I played now.
Wasn't Drive wasn't that like Ryan Gosling's first big movie? I remember like hearing about that dude up until Drive, and then every movie he's ever been in since, he kind of just acts in the exact same way. I never really understood like why Ryan Gosling is as popular as he is, but
I like Ryan Gosling.
I mean, I don't dislike him. I'm just saying I don't think he's like a fucking ace actor or anything like that. Ryan Gosling, if somehow this makes its way to you, which it never will. Sorry.
And pick me
I'm
up.
Shit talking. Acting, rather.
So games I played. I started to play the shit ton of games that I bought during the summer sale, so I'm kind of like chewing through them. I played Devil Daggers, which is very, very cheap. Has a awesome aesthetic. It's like this, it's like low poly horror, but it's not like a horror game. It's like a shooter roguelike-ish, but it's not. I guess it isn't roguelike at all, because so basically all it is you pick up the devil dagger and then things spawn. If anything touches you, you're dead. And you could use the daggers. It's basically a machine gun, or you could tap it and it's a shotgun. And these things spawn, which then in turn spawns more things, and it's just constantly like an optimization route with this just really great aesthetic. It makes you very anxious. Like I don't know, something about the mixture of the visuals, the fact that there's like hardly any music, and you know that like if anything touches you, you're dead, and all the enemies have like really good tells as well. Like you know when they're near you, like when they're about to touch you. Um, it gets the blood pumping. It's very cheap. You could just pick it up anytime. It has probably one of the coolest features in games I've ever seen, where it's like you win and it puts you on a leaderboard and it compares you against your friends. And at any time you can click your friend's score and it plays the video of their run, like exactly what they did to get that score.
That's pretty cool.
And so it's really cool to like learn new techniques through that and just kind of like see it. But it's simple. It's never really expensive. It goes on sale all the time. Definitely pick it up. It's very unique and memorable in my opinion. Got Brigador. It's a mech game. I don't know why it took me this long, honestly. Um, it's pretty good. I also bought the audiobook and listened to it. That was a good ass book that I listened to. That's weird times.
Future, bro.
The complaints I have about it is it's very simple and it gets repetitive like very quickly. You're basically given a list of objectives. You don't have to complete all of them. And it's not even randomized. It's always the same objectives, just where they are is randomized, but it doesn't matter because you have a map leading you to them anyway. The problem is it's like there's not a lot of information about like what is good and what isn't. So you can unlock things that just kind of suck, and then you're just stuck with it. It's more noticeable in weapons. Like I find that like the cannons and stuff are kind of like they're not that great. Like they could punch through everything and they do good damage, but then there's also a railgun. So it's like, yeah, I'll pick the railgun. And it leads to this weird situation where it's like you know, you would think that the biggest weapon mounts are the best, and they are pretty damn good, especially some of them. But like once you unlock, I think it's called the Zeus, which is like an aux railgun, which aux is one of the weapon size categories. You know you're good. That gun is a workhorse. It could do anything. It could pierce cover. It pierces armor. It pierces shields. And it's an aux weapon. So then you get an air quotes shittier mech that can mount 2 aux weapons, and it gives you a money multiplier, but it's easier to use because you have these 2 really good guns. And then it's like game solved. Okay. But it is fun to turn on, just stomp around. But it's pretty good. Apparently it was a giant commercial failure, and but they're trying to secure money for Brigador 2, and I'll pick up Brigador 2. So I hope they manage to get that together. So they made a pretty good game and a great book. Then I played and finished Project Warlock. Project Warlock is a retro shooter FPS. It is piss easy. That's really all I have to say about it. Visually, very nice. The levels are really good. Enemy variety is very good. I mean, even they're derivative. Again, it's really easy. Is my only real complaint about it. Because it has like RPG elements, so you just basically pour into life and and there's like perks, and you get like damage reduction perks, and then you could get one of two different evolutions of the weapons, and like even your base pistol is like very good when you first get it. So then when the upgrade is like, oh, you turn it into a magnum and it does 3 times the damage, it's like, all right. I haven't really messed around with spells. Maybe if I do like a more spell-focused build, it'll be a little bit more interesting. But because your guy's a warlock, but it is very pretty, and it's pretty fun. So I mean, if it's on sale, maybe. And then the thing I'm currently playing is Underrail, which is a fantastic CRPG. It's kind of like it's got that isometric thing, even though it's not isometric. It's grid-based. This game is the exact opposite. It's fucking hard as shit. This is the only RPG I think I've played that like actively punishes exploration like super hard. Cause you're underground, and so there's like caves and bandits everywhere, and you could run in caves all this while and fight a lot of like terrible mutated animals. It's very Fallout-esque, and then at the end of the line, it's like there's rocks because it's a fucking cave. What did you expect? You're not gonna find ancient buried treasure. You're just gonna get shit on for hours, and then you're gonna get lost, and then things respawn, and it sucks even more.
Looking to get shit on and get lost.
But it's really fun because of that, and like there's a really good challenge. You could do a lot of things with the characters, a lot of builds. Right now I'm playing what is called a tin can build, where it's just I have all these perks that just reduce damage, and then I'm wearing like the heaviest fucking armor available in the game. I got an assault rifle, and I'm just spraying dudes down, and it makes it a lot easier. It's got a nice little damage reduction, damage threshold system. So there's a lot of times that things just waste their turns on me. Like just it's a really great feeling in the game, especially when I finally got my suit of like actual armor to go from, oh, these guys are doing, some damage to me, where it's just like flurries of attacks and it's just 0, 0, 0, 0. And I'm not even that far in the game, and it's just cool to just feel like your build come to fruition and stuff. And the world is very interesting. Like the dialogue is extremely well written. Like you could get a sense of personality from these characters just from kind of like the way that they talk and do things. And probably the thing I like it the best about it is it just fucking drops you right into there. So it's like clearly the post-apocalypse. No one talks about how the world ended. It's already happened. It's ancient history. It's like like you go in there and they're like, "Hey, do these missions for our outpost so we don't fucking die." There's no like, "Here's how we got here" or anything like that. Like no one talks about why the world's a shithole. It just is. And that's exactly what this would do. So like all the little bits of like lore and tidbits, it has like a weird Dark Souls thing going on where you find these like old train manifests and stuff like that, and you're kind of like putting things together. And it's very good. It's super good. I would highly recommend it, especially if you like CRPGs. Like if you're a fan of Fallout, fucking, and I mean like OG Fallout 1, 2, definitely buy Underrail immediately. And that's basically it. That's what I've been doing for 3 weeks. Actually, I've been terribly depressed for most of the time, so that's why we haven't been recording much.
There it is.
So, but I'm doing good. So, yay.
So here we are,
Here we are.
recording for you fine 20 people at home. Who next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Yeah. My month has been basically filled with getting hyped for the new Risk of Rain update coming out in like 2 weeks almost, a little longer, with the new Survivor. and getting some practice in because I'm super stoked for it. Playing a lot of Scrap Mechanic Survivor, something I picked up during the summer sale. And I seriously cannot wait for it.
Huh? Wait for what?
The Risk of Rain thing.
Oh, okay.
My brain skipped there for a second.
Yeah, because you were like, I've been playing Scrap Mechanic, and then you're like, God, Risk of Rain though.
Yeah, but I've been playing a lot of Scrap Mechanic. That's been what's primarily been taking up most of my time. I've been playing solo and with some friends. Matt's actually been playing it with me a little bit. And it's actually quite fun watching all of us have some fun with it. So that's primarily what my month has been. I applied for a new job, got some new work. So, and been preparing for a new campaign that I've been getting ready to run.
Ooh, what system?
It's still 5e, but it's a new setting and everything because I was running a module before for another group, and I'm deciding to get out of the module and run something else.
Nice.
Who wants to go next?
Fuck it, I'll do it. He's being quiet, so it'll be me. I don't want to take too long on this, but I watched a lot of shit and I did a lot of shit, and I'm gonna skim through most of it, and then I'll talk about the one thing that I think is worth talking about. I watched a lot of movies. I watched like The Lighthouse.
Oh,
couple
I gotta
weeks
see
ago.
that.
It's very good. I recommend it. Like I said, I don't want to get like super deep into it, but it was good. I recommend it. It's the same dude who directed. I don't know if he wrote The Witch as well as directed it, but it's the same guy that definitely directed The Witch. And to be completely honest, it's a very different kind of movie. I would say I liked it more than The Witch, by like a significant degree. So it's good. I recommend it. I also watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark like a week ago. I don't recommend that as much. Very 50 Shades of Okay. Not what I was expecting. Very like mainstream horror movie kind of shtick, which I didn't really get from the trailers, to be honest. I feel like the marketing kind of failed it. Not a very interesting movie, and I don't really recommend it. There's been some games like Battlebrothers I picked up during the Steam Summer Sale. I've been playing that a lot. Once again, I don't want to get super deep into it, but it's basically like a 2D like animated art, almost like RimWorld-esque kind of version of a Mountain Blade game. It's
Oh,
very
really?
clearly, yes, it's very clearly like Warband inspired. The way things animate reminds me a lot of like a RimWorld, but with more care given to like the art itself for the characters and the enemies and shit of that nature. I recommend it. Once again, not getting into like super huge detail about it, but it is a very good game and I recommend it. I think the thing I'd rather talk about more is that I finished Doom 2016 last week, my first full playthrough of it, and I almost actually like pretty much immediately thereafter started playing Doom Eternal. I feel like my perspective on it is kind of unique in that I played them so closely back to back. I have to consistently remind myself as I'm playing it that like 4 years went by between like 2016 and this, and there are things about Eternal that I like, and there's things that I dislike in comparison to 2016. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It's not, it's a more difficult game where I feel like the intention behind its design was, hey, because something that hit me as I was playing through 2016 was like, you get the chainsaw very early on in 2016, and it is a tool that's supposed to be used on enemies when you're running low on ammunition, because when you kill a demon with a chainsaw, they become an ammo fountain.
Yes.
Right? That's the point of the weapon. I almost never used it. Like there was barely any moments in Doom, the first one, 2016, where I ever felt like I was so low on ammo that I like, oh my god, in the middle of this fight, I have to switch to my chainsaw and I have to kill something to run out of ammo. Like that almost never happened. Almost right up until the very end of the game, I barely ever had that shit occur until fights start getting a little bit longer and more intense, like in the last 2 levels of the whole game. But for the most part, the chainsaw didn't feel like a necessary tool. And I feel like part of Eternal's design was they were like, let's make the chainsaw more necessary by making like ammo from the beginning of the game very sparse and you can't hold nearly as much. And also let's put the flamethrower thing in for the armor. And basically it seems like they were like, let's make fights a little bit less about pointing the gun at the demon and killing it, and a little bit more about point the gun at the demon and kill it, but also need to make snap decisions with like the chainsaw for ammo and with the flamethrower to like stay alive and shit like that. And like I'm playing it on ultra violence, much like I did with 2016 from the get-go, and it's definitely a more difficult game where I feel like if I don't play around those mechanics, I will die in some fights. It's not I'm not breezing through it like I was with 2016. I can't ignore the chainsaw the way that you could in that game. And to me personally, I could see how that might be off-putting to some people. I kind of like it because in 2016 it was like kind of a sticking point for me that I was like, I never feel like I have to use this fucking thing, and in Eternal I do. So that's kind of neat personally for me. Something I dislike about the game is I don't like the change in art style, which is something, and like tone, which is something that I noticed right off the bat. This is kind of a weird thing. This is a weird way to put it, but I've been thinking about it a lot. And it's like Doom 2016, if you really think about it, right? And you look at the way that game looks, like the environments and the enemy designs and shit like that, gameplay wise, it's very far removed from like Doom 3, right?
Yeah.
But aesthetically, it's not that far removed. Like go look at like a Hell Knight from Doom 3 and look at the way that game looks in 2016. It's like the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like the game has this I don't know, like darker, kind of more serious tone to it. Like there's some clown shoesy shit in 2016. Like the fact that the UAC is basically like the fucking ad mech. They're like this completely individualistic, like semi-autonomous thing up on Mars that it has like a cult-based hierarchy, and they're all about hell worship. And like the deeper in you get, you find these like text logs of like foundry workers being like, don't forget, get your pentagram tattoo, and be all like, fuck yeah, I love Satan. And like they're just doing that. Like that's just the way they work in that entire organization, and it's like fucking insane. But it's very like behind the scenes, you know? You only read about that in the logs for the most part. And a lot of your interactions with like Samuel Hayden and like Olivia Pierce and shit throughout 2016 are played very straight. And it's a more like grim darky kind of semi-serious experience, as opposed to Eternal, where the best way I can think to describe Eternal's plot is that it feels like I'm playing the Doom version of like a Darksiders game.
Yeah.
Like in the second level, this isn't really a spoiler because it's like the second level. So you experience this in like the first hour of the game or something like that. Maybe a little bit more than that. But the second level is you go through a portal and you step out from Earth and wind up somewhere completely different, like some other fucking planet, I think, or maybe plane of existence somewhere completely different. And it's essentially like it's the planet of like the Sentinels, which I believe what the lore is trying to establish is that that's what Doomslayer is. And you talk to this guy and you're going through their architecture, and it's all this like gothic like architecture with these statues of these big like full plate dudes, and there's these ghosts of these like full plate mail wearing guys that like hand you your armor point upgrades and shit, and like they're the dudes from the very end of 2016, spoiler alert, but you only see them briefly, you know, like there's no nod as to like what they are or what's going on with any of that. And then you step into a room and you talk to a ghost of a guy who's like 12 feet tall, and he's sitting on a throne, and he looks like Thor. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And like, even Doom guy looks a little bit more cartoonishly ripped and like weird in his design. Like and I'm not like shit talking Darksiders or anything like that, but you kind of get what I'm saying. It's like a more artistically lighthearted tone. Even like the first level, something that was like really off-putting for me is when you spawn in, the game opens with like no description as to how you get from the end of Doom 2016 to the beginning of Doom Eternal. You spawn into the first level, and you're instantly in this like wooden building of some kind, and it immediately hit me how different my surroundings were from anything that was in Doom 2016. And then like you take 2 steps and you pick up the chainsaw. And when you pick up the chainsaw, it's just a spinning, glowing green outline of a chainsaw. And then you walk into it, and it's like, you have a chainsaw. Okay. And that's how every weapon pickup in Doom Eternal that I've found thus far works. Whereas in 2016, it was like, oh, you found the shotgun. You walk up to a dead guy who's holding the shotgun, and you like pry it from his hands. You know, there's like an animation for it, and it's like,
and then he looks at it a little bit.
Yeah, he cocks it. It's like lovingly animated. It's like, haha, I pulled it from the dead guy's hands, whatever. And like every gun was like that. Even the chainsaw, I'm pretty sure in 2016, you pull the chainsaw out of a dude's corpse, I think, when you find it. And like every gun is obtained in that fashion. In Doom Eternal, it's like, oh, I found the rocket launcher because I turned a corner and I took 2 steps into a room, and the rocket launcher was just spinning in the middle of the room like I'm playing Serious Sam or some shit, and I just walked into it and I got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like, once again, this is a very mild spoiler, but I think it's like the 3rd level is like the cultist base. Or maybe it's like the 4th level. They run together because they're really long.
Yeah.
But the cultist base is so clowny in its design. You know what I mean? Because like you're going through it and you're like, no one would ever design a base like this, where it's like you walk in and there's like a button, and if you step on the button, these giant scythe blades come out of the walls and like rake the hallway, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like nothing nothing like this would have ever been in the UAC on Mars when you were walking around in Doom 2016, because it doesn't make any sense. Maybe in the hell portions of the game, it's not inherently bad. It's just clearly like whoever was in charge of deciding the game's tone in terms of like its art direction and like the writing and the way the plot is delivered to you clearly didn't give as much of a fuck about it being super serious. And it kind of becomes a little more like grim, dark sci-fi fantasy with like a way more stylized, like kind of horseshit art style. That's the best way I can put it. Once again, that's not inherently bad. It's just I don't like it as much as 2016's kind of more subtle take. That's the best way to put it. Is 2016 was more subtle.
Isn't that
this
insane
is very
to say?
in your face. No, it is. It's absurd because it's not a very subtle. I mean, like it's not subtle in its gameplay or in like the hyper violence or any of that shit. But in terms of its plot, it's pretty subtle in comparison to Eternal, which is just throwing shit in your face from minute 1. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like 2016 was cool because there was that mystery like behind the Doomslayer, and you got those like mild lore snippets as you were going through hell that like sort of explained what was going on, but you didn't really care because all you wanted to do was shoot the demons in the face.
And it was from the perspective of the demons who like who
were like,
mythifize the fuck out of it. Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome. And then Eternal's like, well, actually, he comes from this super advanced race of space Viking night guys who also suck the dicks of some other alien bitch who's basically like a crazy angel alien, and she's like gave him the ghost tech, and wow, they're so fucking cool. And the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, this is way more lame.
Yeah, the part I really like felt it was just for the record, I hated Eternal. I refunded it. My opinions aren't law. It's just it hit me wrong and I despised it. But if someone likes it, that your fucking tastes are valid. I'm just some schmuck. Who cares? But yeah, the part where it like really hit me is like when you talk to the betrayer, who is just this other guy. Oh my god, this game is going to be cutscene after cutscene of people giving grand speeches and him just standing there.
My eyes are glazing over. I'm like, this isn't. I don't care about any of this shit. Like, A, you're delivering it to me in the most boring way possible, and B, this is so it's so tone deaf. You know what I mean?
It's weird because like in 2016, you're actively not supposed to care about the story, but I care about the story. Whereas in Eternal, they're trying to make you care, and I couldn't give a shit.
Like, it's all so lame. You know what I mean? Like, the art style is lame, the characters are lame, it's all so uninteresting. But the gameplay's cool, so that's why I'm still playing it. 2016 is more like a Half-Life style of game design, where you never leave the perspective of Doom Guy. Ever. Not once. It's all from his perspective. I noticed this. And in Eternal, it's like immediately there's like a cutscene where you're not seeing shit from his eyes. And the game keeps doing it like over and over and over again. It's so much more interesting when I'm like having conversations with Samuel Hayden from the perspective of me, of Doom Guy, you know what I mean? And that's how I'm getting all my lore, and that's how I'm like experiencing everything that's happening in the game. And Eternal throws that out in favor of more like mainstream game design with like cutscenes from outside of the fucking character's perspective. But the gameplay changes are kind of nice. I appreciate that the game is a little more difficult than 2016 was. So for that reason, I'm going to finish it. But I would say I'm not done with it, obviously. But as of now, I think maybe I'd say I like 2016 a little bit more. Just as like the complete package. In terms of gameplay, I do think Eternal's fun. I think it's nice that it's more difficult, and maybe I like it a little bit more if that was the only thing we were talking about. But when you take into consideration all the dumb plot shit and like the art style choices, that brings it down a couple pegs, and I think 2016 wins in that regard in almost every other way other than maybe gameplay. And that's about it. That was my long Doom Eternal rant.
We made pretty good time considering it was 3 weeks. So let's get right into news.
We didn't do Richie.
Wow,
let's
dude.
Get right into news about Richie's week. Because
Richie is killing himself. So week over.
All right, well that was easy.
Rip.
Okay, so
Richie, everyone.
I left.
Evolution of fighting game. No, go ahead.
But no, it's very quick, and it's going to be nowhere near as long as you guys. Well, I'm trying to think back because my week is really my month because it's been a while. And honestly, just besides hating myself for playing Dota and spending obscene amounts of money on skins that I don't need, items that I don't need. I got a new car. It's something not gaming related. I'm very happy about it.
Cool.
Cool. You saw it. You know.
Trying to be interactive.
Like you knew about
Trying to
it.
make the podcast interesting. Cool.
Fuck you.
Hey, he just gave you props on your car.
How dare you?
I don't need props. I know it's sexy.
There
But
you go.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
shut up, baby. I know it. But just work. I've been working a lot. Putting in the hours, getting the money to pay for the new car.
And buy Dota items.
And buy Dota items. I'd like to say I did other things, but I really haven't. It's just been work and Dota, which is my life. And it's not the most glamorous life, but you know what? It's mine, so I embrace it.
Well, that makes you happy.
And slowly but surely, as the weeks go on, I hate Dota more and more. And I just want the cavern crawl to be over.
It's because you had to do it twice.
Such garbage.
But you got to be almost through with it.
Yeah. Kind of. I think I have like 15 rooms, maybe.
Look
left
at you.
or
I got
something
like
that.
fucking 50 rooms. But
No. Do you have 50?
I'm only
Didn't you say you were at like 70 last time I talked to you?
I don't know. But
Whatever. The point
I
is,
just got a
cavern crawl,
chunk.
the internet. Dear listener, if you're one of our subs who's been listening since the battle pass started, you may recall our excitement at the beginning of the pass. Unfortunately, every year as the Dota 2 International Battle Pass carries on, I will eventually reach a point of critical mass where I start hating it, and Dota starts to become more work than fun. And I think I'm very much at that point right now where I'm turning the game on and I'm playing through the cavern crawl every night, and I'm like, dear God, I just want this fucking pain to end. But it keeps happening.
Yep. I'm only 61 out of 111.
It just keeps happening.
I still got plenty of rooms. It doesn't look bad when I look at it, but apparently there's a lot of fucking rooms. Now, granted, I'm sure half the rooms I'm not even going to play because, you know, you get multiple rooms, you get fractals and all that shit, but...
I really badly want to, like... I keep staring at it in my Steam library, and I'm like, man, I just want to play, like, some Monster Hunter or something. Just, like, take a fucking break from this nightly crawl shit, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
I have to do it, and I hate it.
Yeah, our guild's level 12 now. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I was playing yesterday and today a little bit with some people, and we got it to 12. Please get fucking excited.
But Immortal Treasure 2 came out. I think the items are pretty nice.
No one cares about these photo items, but you and
Yeah,
me.
I know. But
No one gives a fuck.
well, no one gives a fuck about our podcast or us, but I'm going to talk about it anyway.
That's not true. That's not true, Richie.
21 people.
Right, 20 people.
How many of us are there? There's 4 of us right now, right? There's Sean and BB and Matt. They probably all sub to the fucking channel. So if you take that into consideration, that's 7. So reduce that number by 7 people.
14.
That's how many random people came upon our channel and were like, wow,
Literally,
dude, what a great podcast.
2 people for each of us.
I even put a link. There was a guy who randomly, I'm choking to death. I'm choking to death on a coffee grain. Oh, fuck. There was a guy who randomly commented on the most recent Camel channel video. I just happened to click it and looked at it, and it was like a week before I clicked on it, I think.
Wow.
And I responded to him, and I was like, hey, man, follow this link. We have a podcast. So I bet he's one of those people. I bet he's listening to this right now. Whoever you are.
Hey, mate.
Guy.
We didn't bother to memorize your name, but we love you.
This fucking YouTube name. I'll go look it up right now. I'll shout him out right now. Watch, it's probably something horribly offensive.
If
I
it's
won't.
horribly offensive, we're not gonna. We might still say it.
Yeah,
Right.
depending on
Leading
what
to
it
my
is.
point, so we can get done with my fucking week, is that the items came out and they were very cool. Very cool. I hate the wait though. I would like to say worth the wait because they're very awesome, but nothing's worth the wait.
You want my hot take on Treasure 2?
Yeah, sure.
I kind of agree with a guy in our guild chat who was like, they're all right. Like, I don't think they're amazing, to be honest. I don't know if they were worth the fucking... Not the best Immortal Treasure I think they've ever put out. The Jakiro one is fucking tight.
All right, this is my
but
opinion.
the rest of them are like, eh.
I think
The Magnus one is sick too, but the way the item itself looks is kind of eh, but the effect on his
Really?
RP
I like
is
it.
sick. I think it's okay. The RP is cool.
All right, I think Magnus is pretty cool.
Hold on, wait, let me shout this guy out real quick
Yep,
before you
shout him
continue.
out.
His name is Svina Wrath.
Thank God.
That's
That's
his name.
not offensive
S-
at all.
Svina Wrath. Svina Wrath.
I thought you were gonna come
And-
out and be like, Nane Higgers. What a weird name.
Fuckface Cunt Train says, "Wow, I love you guys." But yeah, he even thumbs up my comment where I said,
Wow,
"Hey
dude,
man, check
so-
out this podcast."
Nice.
I
He's
guess
here.
he
He's
cares.
listening.
I guess he cares. I think hot take. The Ursa being the ultra rare was very silly. I don't think it changes enough. The only reason they made it the ultra rare is because he gets the cute fucking bear on the back,
Oh,
and they're like,
I like
"Look,
it.
people want the bear."
I actually
like-
like their Ultra Rare. That's one of the few
Eh.
items in it that I think are really
Eh,
sick.
I'm indifferent.
I like it. The fuck, man? You don't like cute little bears on the back of your murder bear?
I don't know. It's whatever.
Whatever, lame.
Cute little bear sucking up.
Which
a
ones
leaf.
do you think are cool so I can tell you that they suck?
All right. Well, I really, really like the Jakira one, and it does
Oh,
not.
that one is cool. What other ones? I'll tell you which one blows my ass.
Yeah. I personally like the Troll Warlord one a lot.
I like what the Troll Warlord one does to his spells. I know I could
Yeah.
take it or leave it for how it
It
looks.
looks. I think I think it looks fine, and I think it makes his like the fact that it changes like the colors and shit of the ult as well, which is just like extra. It's just fucking gravy on top of it. So it does a lot, and I really like it. Again, this was to lead into a point that they put out this fucking treasure, and I watch in real time as items for the characters skyrocket in price. There was a Troll Warlord head that was 89 cents when I logged on, and this treasure came out because I got the update like as soon as it happened. Within the span of not even like fucking like 20 minutes, it went from 89 cents up to $8 because it's like the only Troll Warlord head that was cheap. And I think the craziest one was Jakiro, where that Jakiro fucking one came out, and the ice head went from $4 up to $11 fucking dollars.
Wow.
And that's crazy, because honestly, I think the Jakiro ice head's pretty fucking stupid. Doesn't really change the spell to look better.
Wow.
But that's just my hot take.
$11 for a fake little piece of garnish on one of your little toy
Yep.
soldier men.
Now, granted,
You're-
I am not above buying the dumb pieces for my little toy soldiers.
No, I'm not either. But
And I'll admit, you
I'm
know
starting
that
to get there though.
you
where
know
I'm
that
like,
little
fuck this video game.
you know that little blurb I sent you when this came out, and it's like, wow, that Troll Warlord thing makes me want to get the axes. Yeah, I definitely bought the axes.
Wow, for all that Troll Warlord you play.
I mean, hey, maybe now I'll play more Troll Warlord.
The big
It's
maybe.
look, Brandon,
Oh my
it's not
God,
about
yeah.
it's not about how much I play them. It's about when I do play them, they look fucking nice. All right.
Alright. You're much deeper than me. I have heroes I play actually quite frequently that don't even look that nice just because I don't care enough to get items for them. And they're heroes I play, like actively. Hell, I even occasionally pick Troll and I'm
It's
like,
his
man,
vice,
I
man.
enjoy Troll.
It's
Well,
his
no,
vice.
but I put most of my cosmetic. I can't say that it's his vice because I do also get dumb shit for my heroes, but I specifically only get dumb shit for the heroes that I typically play.
It's the difference
rest of the
between
stuff I
a pack a week and a pack a day. You know, it's
Listen,
not that
all-
it's a different
all
problem.
I'm saying,
Well,
all I'm
it's more like
saying,
a different point where my vice is pointed. Like I'm much more targeted at the shit that I actually play. Like I won't buy Troll Warlord's axes because I know I don't spam him enough to justify that.
see, but like now I want to play Troll Warlord. You know,
Well,
like
I am still going to play Troll Warlord, but that's my point. Is that like I don't like he's not like what's a comparison? He's not like in terms of safe laners, he's not like Jug for me or like Monkey King or whatever. I don't play him nearly as often as those heroes, so I get my items on like those heroes. You know what I mean?
yeah, I like to
I
get
do pick Troll.
I like to
Arcade.
play everyone. I don't spam anyone, which is kind of why my Arcanas aren't leveled. And by Arcanas that I level, like the Earthshaker one. But
Talking about Dota too long. No one cares. None of these fine people give a shit
I
about
thi-
Dota. Or
Well,
wow,
no,
I didn't
no, no,
say
no.
that
Plenty-
when you were spamming, like,
No,
talking about
no,
Doom.
no,
Like,
if this was
plenty
people
of
care about
people love
I'm not saying
Dota.
fuck you because you're talking about Dota. I'm just saying that there's a good chance that we're horribly boring the two other people on this podcast right now as we just talk about how pretty our heroes are.
I
didn't
think
contribute
yeah.
anything to the conversation on Altered Carbon and Doom.
I think
On your
the
point,
bigger
Richie.
problem is it's like just the format. You know, like if I was able to insert like the animations and stuff, but it's hard to like, you know, you talk about cosmetics on like on a voice only kind of like platform, and it's like
Just letting everyone know how stupid we are. for
Yeah,
spending money.
there is
on
so much other things you could be spending your money on, but I guess it's not hookers, it's not blow, so I guess I'm a
I've
good
said this
person.
to you before. Sometimes I look at my Dota shit and I'm like, maybe I should just buy hookers and blow.
Maybe.
That's a better use of my time.
you could buy different outfits for your hookers.
Listen, all I'm saying is that if we get another 1200 check, which it's looking like we're going to, I might have a very nice Sven sword. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. See, I actually play Sven a lot, or I used to. Not as much nowadays, but I used to pick Sven a lot.
You know I'm
I
deep in
probably
the fucking.
buy that
You know I'm deep in the hole when I get the fucking $160 faceless void head.
Don't do that, Richie.
I could get his $325 immortal weapon,
Don't do that, Richie.
but it's Trump bucks.
Yikes.
You just
You know
got
what?
a
You know
car,
what?
man.
Let's bring this back real quick to the Steam Summer Sale. I'm a fucking idiot too. Once again, just to preface what I'm about to say, I buy dumb shit for heroes all the time. In fact, I did. I've been doing it since the Battle Pass came out, with all the collector's caches and all that shit. And I bought some targeted stuff, but just for like heroes I play and whatever. Anyway, during the fucking Steam Summer Sale, I was like, Richie, we should play some Monster Hunter, dude. Iceborne is like $30 right now, bro. You could play Iceborne with me and Anthony. And he was like, yeah, that's pretty dope. And then he went and spent like way more than that on items for his heroes Dota 2. That's all I'm saying. This is the person we're dealing with.
Listen, I have a very unhealthy way of justifying this stuff. As in, man, I could just not buy anything on the Steam Summer Sale and just get Dota items and feel better about myself.
Crazy. So bonkers to me. But I respect it.
I bought you a claymore that was less.
A real Claymore. A real item for you.
Listen, I'm not getting the $300 faceless void item. I mean, that's not going to happen. Like, how expensive is the Lena one I like, though? That's 104. You know, that's actually within the realms of possibility.
Oh my god.
People, please, in the comments, help us with an intervention. With
I
this.
need a Kickstarter for my Dota items.
Intervention.
Yeah,
I'll stream. Donate to my Patreon for Dota items.
Go fund me for this fucking intervention that is desperate.
Sign up to my OnlyFans.
Oh no.
I'll spread butt cheeks for Dota items.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
The man is too moral for hookers, but when you put a Dota item in front of his face, you will see inside him.
God.
Aw.
Again, because you guys don't know, I picked up, let's see, 1, 2, 3,
I don't want to know.
4. Was it 4? Yeah, I think I picked up like 4 Arcanas within the past like 2 months. And Arcanas are like, I guess to compare it to League, because Rob knows League, they're like Pulsefire Ezreal type skins.
You're disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to call you my brother right now.
Speaking of sexual predators, Evo.
Yes, I will end the week in my perverse addiction to fake cosmetics on my little and
God help you, man. Like,
and
Jesus.
women.
All right, so, oh Lord, we were very excited for Evo, and then something occurred, which is it. As it turns out, when games attract children, and there are people who find children attractive.
I'll be honest, I know nothing about this, so I'm very excited.
Well, basically,
oh my!
You didn't read anything about this or anything?
Dude, my life has just been nothing but Dota and deli meat, so I have read nothing of anything.
And deli meat.
You got excited.
I mean,
These guys did.
there's not much to say. There's a whole bunch of different stories. Some more valid than the rest. Well, okay, I don't want to say some are invalid, but severity.
We don't know the specifics of what he did. Wait, give that description. The fact that the Evo is essentially canceled. It is canceled, not
Yeah, it's not essentially.
It's canceled this year.
It was murdered.
The CEO, I believe, behind it, correct? Wasn't he the top dog? And then the netcode, the fucking Battlebrothers were in on it with him, but they weren't at the tippy top. Is a guy whose I don't remember his real name, but his handle was Mr. Wizard.
Oh God!
And
he made his hands disappear. Let me tell you.
Wiggle fingers is what we should have been called.
Mr. Wizard has come up on some pretty serious allegations of honestly the specifics I don't even remember. Is it kids specifically?
Yeah.
That he's diddling?
Well, look, I don't even know. Like, okay, so like a big problem with like things like this is there's a lot of hearsay and different stories. Conclusively, he was acting inappropriately. Let's put it that way. Severity, you know, I've heard everything from, hey, show me your stuff, which is bad, to actual as the old English would call it, buggery, and of underage people, and this is just so the main reason it dies is because, of course, he's in charge of everything, and you can't have the person running it doing some like, man, we thought it was pizza this whole time. Turns out it was fighting games, and but even beyond that, even like individual like players, there's girls going after kids, guys going after guys, girls going after other guys, all sorts of shit.
Evo cancellation though, that's just.
But
Mr.
that's kind of how it started. Is that it was, you know, this player did this, and then this player did this, and this person, and then it just like broke the dam of just people coming out and telling their stories, and it eventually went all the way up to the top.
You mentioned, I think last time we recorded, how this had kind of been hitting the Dota 2 scene a little bit, and that like I think it was right before we had recorded a couple like very, very prominent casters, people who cast for like national, got brought up on like sexual harassment allegations and essentially had their careers deleted. Fast forward to the couple weeks we've lost, and it's like not only has this Mr. Wizard thing happened, which resulted in the entire cancellation of Evo, but we're also learning about many pro Smash Brothers players who are apparently like trying to fuck like underage people like consistently. Like it's like a real problem. Like apparently the Smash community is on fire right now with allegations. Times are rough. And then specifically, obviously, with Evo cancellation, shit's hard out there.
In more ways than one.
Literally. For all the wrong reasons.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy, dude. I mean, like, obviously this is kind of old news at this point, but when I turned Discord on and I saw you post that Evo was canceled, I was shocked. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
And again, it got canceled later.
I remember I remember seeing Mr. Wizard in the fucking game announcement trailers and shit
Yep.
like that. Like I obviously I didn't know of him as much as some other people do who are a little more ingrained in like the FGC, but I had seen him on a fairly consistent basis before. And so to hear about all this bullshit, it was like, wow.
And yeah, and it was quick and brutal. Like the second that like the murmurs started about like people higher up, like friggin' Capcom pulled, the NetherRealm pulled and stuff. So it's like even
Get that out.
even if there ever was one, there would be showing like nothing. Because I think
It was pretty,
even them's fighting herds was like, we don't want anything to do with this shit. Like
it was pretty clear from the get-go that was going to happen. I don't think that was anyone with like 5 fucking brain cells in their head could have told you that these companies were going to pull their games when these allegations came out.
oh yeah.
It's just it was going to work. I think the big question now is, you know, we don't get Evo this year for solid reasons. What happens from here on out?
Well, I already know
I haven't
that.
been following up on
Yeah, a new guy is already in charge.
it. Okay.
He was replaced like the day it was canceled, so they're going to be figuring it out. But it's gonna be interesting to see how it reacts because the FGC is very, very interesting because it's not really an organization. Like there's all sorts of different players. They all behave differently. And I'm not even talking about illegal stuff. I'm talking about just like because they're people. And there has always been this push against kind of like getting the corporations involved and making it really like sportsy and you know that you have your players and you know they don't want them to just get knocked out in pools like a fluke while the FGC kind of likes the idea of that mysterious guy that comes off on the street, wins the championship and you never see him again, you know, like those legendary stories. But like now what happens? Does the FGC put on the suit in order to prevent things like this from
wouldn't.
happening?
I'm not ready to even have that conversation. Nor I don't know. It's like that's not really a concern of mine. I'm more just curious about in what form do we get Evo again next year? I'm assuming we do because they've obviously replaced him, and I imagine companies will be fine with putting their games on Evo main stage when Mr. Wizard's not a factor.
The way I
You
see
know.
it is, I think Evo's going to be coming around next year. It's probably going to be the exact same as everything, but attendance is going to be a nightmare. And even like there's a weird aftershock of this where it's like, you know, these people did terrible things, but they had followings. They brought in views, and now they're gone. And
Well,
so
in Mr. Wizard's case, it's like, to be completely honest, I don't think him being gone is going to matter that much for Evo on the whole. I think for the Smash community, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens from here on out because they lost a lot of players. Like I can't name exactly how many, and I don't have an article in front of me to tell you, but there was a solid amount of players that are fucking gone. Like the Smash community is abuzz with this shit. So like that'll be interesting to see. You know what else I'm interested in? Evo is typically every year a big hotspot for fighting game announcements.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were going to get any announcements this year, which obviously we're not now, at least not at Evo, when will we get them and how?
I think what's going to happen is that Evo's going to get a big blow, and I think even just because of the stigma, even though it's more on like the FGC as a whole, it because Evo was kind of the face of the FGC, it's going to catch most of the heat. I think it's going to die quietly, and you're not going to notice because everything's going to switch over to something like Frosty Faustings, any of the other kind of like
combo breakers. I'm sure.
Yeah, like the one of the mid tournaments are just going to become the new Evo. They're just going to get big, and it's not going to be like an official changing of hands. It's just that, and this is just my guess, is that it's not going to bring in the numbers. People are going to go other places just because of the stigma, and it's going to just suddenly you're not getting hyped for Evo, you're getting hyped for Frosty Faustings, Combo Breaker, whatever.
I think Evo will attendance and like stream numbers maybe take a hit come this time next year, maybe. But do I think Evo is gonna die and everyone's just gonna move over to watching like Combo Breaker forever and ever? Not really. I think we see Evo again next year, and I think it'll recuperate. I don't see it not, honestly. I think getting rid of Mr. Wizard will be enough for most people to be fine with buying a ticket and fucking tuning in on Twitch next year. I don't think you'll hear much more about it
Oh yeah,
from
for
here
sure.
on out.
Well, you can't keep hearing about it. That is just pure poison to the brand. You don't want to keep bringing that up.
Highly doubt. And the other thing to keep in mind is that the other two guys, I wish I could fucking remember their names. I knew them, but I am brain farting. The brothers who are responsible for basically the invention of rollback, who are also ingrained in Evo, and have a position with Evo. Like they're still there as far as I know, and like they're very respected in the FGC. So I don't see Evo like eating shit anytime soon as a result of this. I think it comes back next year and the numbers will be fine. They might be lesser, but they'll be fine.
Yeah,
and we'll get our tournaments, we'll get our game announcements and all that shit.
We just have to wait and see.
However, the Marvel 4 announcement, let me don my tinfoil hat real quick, that we were definitely gonna get during the Evo stream this year. When will we get it instead? When's it gonna happen? I don't know, but it's coming. Marvel 2 was there for a reason. It's gonna happen. The diddling fucked it all up, but we're gonna get a Marvel 4 announcement. It's coming, baby.
Any day now. The next big thing that happened was the Xbox Showcase, where surprisingly they didn't give a price or a launch date for the console, and I guarantee Microsoft and Sony just have their hands hovering over the button of just like the same thing but minus $5 for whoever goes first. It's that one Dr. Seuss where they're just both holding the little like cherry bomb ready to obliterate the other side. It showed games. They were good. A lot of console exclusives. I have a PC. I don't care.
Well, a lot of console exclusives. A few console exclusives and a few quote unquote console launch exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
There's another way of saying timed exclusivity.
Yes. We put a video about it. I'll put the link in the description. It was me and Braden watched it, definitely live, and we commented on it. So if you want our takes, you could go there. But there
we'll discuss it again
with
freers
with the
right now.
Oh, we're gonna do a quick discussion.
Well, I mean, if you guys got a video, I don't want to go too in depth because honestly, I don't.
Well, of course,
know
I want
much
your takes.
About,
like,
I heard Fable 4, which is exciting.
I love the Fable game.
Fable. It doesn't have a number, which could mean it's like a reboot.
Which I'm less excited than.
I mean,
Fable 1 was the best
really
Fable.
care.
If it's a reboot and they're doing Fable 1,
let's be real.
I'm okay.
I don't care if it's a reboot. I just like something in the Fable universe is just cool. So
let's hinge on Fable then, real quick, right?
You
let's
didn't
start
play
with
the
this.
Kinect shooter? Come on.
Shut up.
The last Fable, for everything that was kind of wonky with it in terms of story around the end and how it had like a break in the story, I did enjoy a lot of the mixing of spells and shit that it offered.
Let's hinge on Fable real quick, right? Because I think Fable is kind of the big announcement of the whole thing, which they did it right at the end. They were like, "Oh, we have one more thing," and then they showed off Fable. Something that's important, and by showed off Fable, I mean all we got was the cinematic trailer, and it was like, "Oh, it's Fable." I think something that's really important to keep in mind about this is that this isn't Lionhead, because Lionhead's dead and has been dead for many years. So it's, to be honest, do I love Fable? Absolutely. Specifically the first game.
But do I
But-
love Tabula Rasa? Hell yeah.
But it's really difficult for me to get excited about a trailer that just shows up, is a cinematic trailer, and goes, "Hey guys, Fable's coming," when there's no gameplay and I don't know the people who are making it. So like, I don't even know what the game is beyond the fact that they're calling it Fable. You know what I mean? Like, it could be a dumpster fire. We don't know. It could be the next Crackdown 3.
Yeah, it's totally possible, but at the same time, just because it's not Lionhead doesn't mean they can't do it.
No, yeah, and I
But they
agree with that.
can't
I'm not
make-
saying
yeah.
that. But I am saying that, like, you and me, even Richie, and all of us have had this conversation before, like, physically together, not on the podcast, but about the idea of, like, it's a different idea, but the idea of, like, development studios changing over time, and, like, the BioWare of now is not the BioWare of Dragon Age Origins and, like, Mass Effect 1 and 2 and shit of that nature. This is a
remind me,
completely unproven studio that I don't know shit about, and they're making a Fable game. I can't attach them to my love of the old Fable games because that doesn't equate. Like, it doesn't make sense.
And they could potentially knock it out of the park. You know, we don't know.
could. Yeah, but I can't get, like, super excited about it because I don't know.
I get that. I get that point.
You know what I mean?
But that's a good thing. You shouldn't get super stoked for it, but at the same time, more times than not, up and coming companies have done pretty decent work.
I'm very happy this game exists. Don't get me wrong, because Fable's been dead in the water for fucking years, and I love that franchise. Like, that, good on Microsoft for giving someone money to utilize this fucking IP. It's about time. It's unfortunate we didn't get gameplay or, like, a release date or anything like that, but
You know what?
Whatever.
That's the thing I wanted to touch on, and I touched on it in our video, but it does concern me that, like, majority of what was seen was just kind of like an announced trailer, like not even gameplay footage. Froza, Stalker, which literally Stalker, they came out and they like scrubbed their release date because they don't know when it's going to be done. Darktide, Fable, like a bunch of games, like there wasn't even gameplay footage. Yeah, Avowed. So it's like it's hard to get hype for the console, even if they're console launch exclusives, when it's like these are minimum 2 years away.
Microsoft is doing something that they have kind of done in the past. They didn't do it with Xbox One, but they've done it before, where they're basically just going to put out a console with a Halo game, and they're going to hope that that's enough to get the console into people's hands, and then later on, those people stick around for stuff like Fable and Avowed and shit like that.
It will. It'll work if history is, if history repeats itself.
Yeah, I mean,
The only reason I don't need the Xbox is because I could just use my computer now.
Mhm.
Same.
So
which is another interesting route, I guess, that Microsoft's taken, in that they are like putting out all
It-
these new games
it's
on
a
Windows,
good-
and not just on Windows, but on Steam.
It is
itself.
100% a pro-consumer move, and because of that, I hope it pans out for them. But no, I think it will. I think overall they'll get more total sales, which is, since consoles are usually sold at a loss, is probably better for the company in the long run.
It's like, I hope it succeeds, if only because it'll put pressure on other companies to do the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sony to be a little more aggressive about, like, PC porting their stuff. If Microsoft is like, hey, look at the fucking numbers we're putting up, and also making all this money off of Infinite on Steam,
Well, I mean, kind of a side note, like Death Stranding is doing better on PC than it ever did on the PS4. So
Really?
yeah, it's
Oh.
my theory, the Germans. Those guys who play Euro Truck Simulator day in, day out, after a long day of driving trucks in real
I'm
life.
interested. I'm excited to see how well like Horizon Zero Dawn does on PC when that drops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's gonna be paying attention to that. They have to be.
Because I'll be honest, like I might get it because that's
I
a
am
game
gonna
I've been
get it.
wanting to play.
I guarantee you all get that because the Horizon 2 trailer was interesting to me, and even though that's probably not going to come to PC for like fucking 3 years, at least I can play the first one in its complete state, I believe, with all the DLC and shit on Steam. First of all, do we want to talk about Halo?
I want to talk about Halo,
Okay.
and I've said some shit about it. One, was I crazy or did the graphics look a little off?
They looked like shit.
Yeah,
I don't know about. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
that they were. I wouldn't say that they look off or that they look like shit, but I would say that they don't look like
no,
next gen.
granted, this could have been just like early gameplay. I mean, obviously it's early gameplay. It could have been unfinished. Like this wasn't meant to be like, look at our finished product, but it was rough.
Well, the game's pretty finished. If the consoles come out in November and it's
Yeah.
a launch, that game is fucking done, dude. That shit's gotta be done.
I don't know.
It just looked rough.
Extremely close to done. I agree with you though. It doesn't look. That was one of my biggest takeaways with the Infinite gameplay. Two things that I took away from that gameplay. A, it doesn't look amazing for like a next gen title, which I think you could put on. It's been said that that game was in development for Xbox One before it was intended for Series X. So maybe that's what's going on, is that we're kind of seeing a mishmash of last gen and next gen graphic tech. And secondly, the gameplay was kind of okay. It looked like more Halo to me. I didn't see anything that was like super standout-ish. I didn't walk away from it going like, wow, I'm fucking hyped for this, the way that I kind of wanted to be.
Yeah, I can get that. Also from a gameplay thing, I think the grappling hook is fucking dumb. But
I wouldn't say, for me, it's not dumb, but I agree with you that it's very off-putting. I said this to Anthony when we were watching it. You can actually go watch our video and hear me say this, I think, in the video, where I was like, this grappling hook thing, the first time I saw it, it's so not Halo-y. Like, did you ever play Halo and go, man,
If only they had a
grappling
grappling hook.
it's not a very Halo mechanic. I assume that's what you're kind of getting at.
Yeah. it's just stupid to me because it's not Halo.
Yeah, I don't
Fair.
know. Like just the way that it works, I would
And-
imagine more like
The
a jetpack or something when it comes, because he uses it for traversal and
Which
then
has been a
also
thing.
kind of offensively. But then yeah, like why wouldn't, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
It's quite weird.
I care the least about Halo of this group because I'm a Sony boy, but I still enjoyed Halo.
the only thing that has me on the hook for this game is the story, just because I want to see what fucking happens.
It's gonna be the flood. I'm saying it right now.
Don't get too excited. I mean, 343 hasn't exactly been fucking nailing it.
Oh, I know. I just want to see, even if it's how bad it is, I need to see.
It's the flood. I'm
Because
calling
it's
it the
Halo,
flood.
and I have to see what happens.
It's all the
Yeah.
flood.
But the
Tinfoil
Cortana
hat.
Forerunners though.
The flood corrupted Cortana.
Is it just me?
Tinfoil hat.
Is it just me, or is it like? Because I was getting this vibe when I was watching the Infinite trailer, and I was like, I feel like the 343 games are super disjointed, right? Like, there's not a lot of like connective tissue between the three games, where it's like every game has had some new zany bullshit going on that's completely different from the one that came before it.
It's
You know
the
what I
new-
mean?
It's
Whereas
the new
like
Star Wars of the Halos.
sure. Whereas I haven't seen the newer movies, so I don't know what you're getting at. But like the fact that like the original Bungie trilogy was a little more connected, in my opinion, whereas these games are just like throw shit at the wall, like this is the new plot, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to connect too well. I'll give you
4
that.
was like Promethean robots fight the Forerunner guy, and then 5 was like Cortana's crazy now, oh my god, and now 6 is like, but Atriox though, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like
Well-
none of these games feel like they have a connective link. I know they do, but my point is that they're just like the themes between each
Yeah.
game are so wild.
I agree with
different.
you. It's a little silly. To that point of fucking Atriox, I can't believe they did that. I know maybe you're
What?
less shocked than I am because we talked about this briefly. I just can't believe they're bringing in like the Halo 2 bad guys as just like, yep, these are now the main bad guys.
Halo
Halo Wars
Wars
2, you
2.
mean?
Or Halo Wars 2. Yeah, sorry.
It is fucking weird, but like I said to you, there's no way in hell they go through this game without explaining to you who Atriox is. On the flip side, it's also probably just a tactic for them to sell more copies of Halo Wars 2 before it goes out.
It's just it seems very weird, and like I said, I'll be honest, I'm not hopeful for this game. That
I'm not
being
either. It
said,
pains me to say that as someone who loves like Halo. It's hard for me to watch a Halo trailer and be like meh
Yeah.
about it.
the only thing that interests me is just the story, just because one, again, I want to see if they do good. I want to see if they fuck it up immensely. But the concept sounds interesting. Like this takes place after humanity loses, which is an interesting concept, seeing as like there was like Spartan 4s and there's they were supposed to be the sick badasses, and now maybe they just got fucked. And that's kind of cool to think that they just got shit on and humanity's fucked,
That's
and now Chief has
cool.
to come to like save the day. But
You know what's cool about that to me? The one thing that's neat to me about the prospect of being like, look, Spartan 4's failed and humanity's fucked, is that's kind of a throwback to the one thing I really liked about Halo 4, which we've had this conversation before, and it's my one biggest disappointment with like 5 onward, is that 4 opens up with a cutscene of dudes interviewing Halsey and being like,
yeah.
yo, is the reason why Spartan 2s and 3s were so fucking badass, is it because they're like subhuman mentally and have like severe mental issues because of the way you made them, and the fact that Chief is like a fucking tool of war and doesn't know how to interact with a person and it has a severe codependence on this fucking AI? That was such a cool idea that they didn't do anything with. Like literally nothing. They dropped it within the same game. They just got rid of it. And then in 5, it never came up again. So the idea that maybe they'll explore that again in 6 is kind of neat, but who fucking knows? I don't have a
And like
lot.
I said, we've had this conversation before. It like kind of blows my mind because I've been, with this Halo like trailer and shit, I've been rewatching like Halo 4 stuff. I really enjoyed Halo 4, and it was good.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was
Like, yeah, I'm not gonna say it was the best, but it was good. I enjoyed it, and
like I said, that opening segment is awesome. I love
even
it.
the rest of the game, I thought it was a good starting point for the next trilogy, and
Fucked it all up.
5 destroyed it.
With all of his false marketing and hype built up for a thing that never even
And
happened.
I just don't get how a game studio fucks it up that much. Like, it was brutal.
I don't know.
We're watching all of
Should've
our
ended-
favorite things die to
Letter
mysterious
Media.
circumstances.
Basically.
It's like the Red Letter Media thing where Rich Evans is like has a feeling
Feels
to
great.
see all your favorite franchises go up in flames.
Oh man.
Halo 4 should have ended with Cortana dying.
Absolutely.
She should. The way she died was like emotional. It was solid. It was a decent ending to the game, and it would have been a nice setup for what goes on with the Master Chief as a character in like 5 and 6 without her being a thing. That would have been cool to see. Instead, they had to bring her back because it sells copies, and as an antagonist because subverting your expectations, like fucking lame.
And also another point to this, I don't know, maybe you can answer this because maybe you guys know more than me. Is this like confirmed Halo 5.5 or is this Halo 6?
I don't know. I don't think they've said.
They've said some stuff, and there have been leaks that are extraordinarily worrying.
Oh, I don't want to know anything about that. If it's like
Well,
leaks or
it's not story leaks. It's things like there's a lot of phrases being thrown out, like kind of games as a servicey type things. Like the game's gonna evolve over time. Like,
Is that why they use the term infinite? It goes on forever.
Oh no! Oh, no.
No,
Get-
no, no, no.
get ready for the
No, no,
Grand
no,
the
no,
Grand
no.
Theft Auto 5 of Halo is what it's sounding
Oh,
like.
no.
Dude, there
God.
was a rumor, and I've only read this rumor. I have no follow-up that it might not launch with multiplayer.
No.
Okay.
No, the Steam page advertises multiplayer.
Well, it's gonna have multiplayer, just not necessarily at launch, is the rumor.
Yeah, I guess. Oh god. Just Halo Infinite is just like fucking Spartan Ops. Like that's all the game is.
Oh no.
But again, it's who knows? I mean, we'll see. We're in this weird situation where a Remedy Call of Duty clone got us more hype than a new Halo.
And
And it's
Avowed.
called
Very good.
Crossfire X. It's like, what
Oh,
the
yeah,
hell?
Its name's horrendous, but it's Remedy, so I know it's probably going to be decent. And Avowed, I'm actually really excited for Avowed. That was the thing I think that before we get off.
It's like
this whole
Skyrim with
fucking-
swords.
That's the fucking thing I think I got most excited about because it was like, hey guys, like I feel like it's flying under the radar for a lot of other people, and I know it's like hard to get excited about it because there was no gameplay and shit. But for me, it was like for Microsoft to come out and be like, hey guys, you know Obsidian? You know those dudes that like when Bethesda let them make a first-person RPG with their IP, everyone loved it because it was great. Do you remember that? Awesome. So we got them, we own them, and by the way, they're doing that for us as a fucking Xbox exclusive. They're making a first-person RPG that's like fantasy themed and in the fucking Pillars of Eternity setting. Like, how are more people not excited about that? Because that game is probably going to be fucking tight.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited about that because that's Obsidian doing what they fucking do best,
Which I'm not even...
which is better than what Bethesda does.
Yeah,
which
it's
their
doing
own
what
shit now.
Bethesda does, but way better.
way better. So like, get hype. That's probably my biggest takeaway from the whole fucking event, to be honest.
The medium also looks cool. To me, I think I'm kind of
Yeah, it looks-
jazzercised for the medium.
I've heard mixed things about like Bloober Team's games, to be honest. So it's like maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't be. I don't know.
Darktide though.
Yeah, Darktide. Darktide's kind of something to get excited.
Listen, I don't care if it is a Vermintide clone. I am excited.
I'm excited about it too.
Yeah.
It's probably just gonna be Vermintide with like more ranged weapon ammunition, so you can shoot more than you can in Vermintide. But like, I'm excited about it.
Like, cause I feel like I don't know.
Overload.
Hopefully, Fat Shark learns and they like don't do the crazy grind that fucking was Vermintide 2 that they've gotten mad criticism about. And they have a nice balance, and hopefully,
No one learns in this industry.
No learn.
boy, that does good. I'm excited for the Grimdark that apparently the trailer kind of shows. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's not with actual gameplay, but the trailer seems pretty grimdark.
I'm assuming that game will be relatively dark in its tone and probably like hyper violent. Because think about Vermintide. When you're cutting up rats and shit, that shit is pretty gory. It's pretty out there when you're like smacking a rat with a claymore and like cutting it in half. I'm now picturing what that game is going to be like when you're mowing down like hordes of plague zombies with last fucking gunfire and
Something
burning.
cool and something very cool is that it's a very like it's basically dark heresy. It's like as far as we know, there's going to be no space marine, and that's cool.
They said that? Or is that just, are we just inferring that from what they've showed?
I think there was like interviews and shit. I don't know, but like I don't think there. Maybe I'm fucking wrong, but yeah.
Yo,
Dark
the title art has a fucking Ogren in it. That
Yeah,
is
I know,
the
Ogren,
coolest
definitely.
thing to me.
Playable Ogren's pretty dope.
That is true. That's gonna be awesome.
I hope they throw in a ratling too. Like, just get the weird shit in there. The stuff that people don't usually see.
Sister of Battle would be kind of tight.
It just says like you're the Inquisition, so well, I guess we're assuming it's a dark like an acolyte team because I think in the trailer they also call you acolytes.
Yes.
So that would open up basically all the dark heresy fucking like archetypes.
I want an Arbites so bad. I would be Space Judge Dredd in a heartbeat.
The thing that's always important to keep in mind about this is what is Fat Shark pulling from when they say you are the Inquisition?
Mm.
Have they gone back over like Fantasy Flight Games, Dark Heresy source books and shit for inspiration, or are they just taking whatever Games Workshop feeds them and whatever is like there on the tabletop?
Well, I mean,
You
even
know,
on the
for
tabletop,
like
it's not the worst. 'Cause
Well,
you got
we
things
do
like
know.
Crusaders and Official
Yeah, we do-
Assassinatorium, which that's cool shit.
We do know that at least one enemy type, if not the enemy, are going to be like Poxwalkers and all Nurgle shit, which is newer Games Workshop stuff, technically. Like the more Death Guard themed.
I'm just thinking like so back in the day because we haven't really touched 40k tabletop in quite some time, and I haven't read a codex in a long time. But back in the day, I'm trying to think back to like 5th edition Grey Knights and like the inquisitorial units that they could field. Like, what did they have? Was like an Arbites officer a thing that could be in his retinue?
Nah, it was.
Was there any of that at all?
I only remember Crusaders because those seemed like the guys to pick. But they had other things. They had all the assassins.
Right, but not like Arbites and shit like that.
No,
Bro,
no,
if
no.
there was like a fucking if there is like a death cult assassin in this game, that would be fucking awesome.
Yep.
And
I mean,
not
what's
like
the that picture, like the title picture? It has the Ogren, it has a guardsman, it has what looks to be maybe like an assassin guy, and then
Yeah, there's
maybe
a guy.
a,
There's a guy just in a cloak. There's a guy with a flamethrower. There's like a standard guardsman, and then there's an ogre.
guy with the cloak could also just be like rattling sniper.
Yeah, it could be. He
Could also
doesn't look
Yeah.
like a midget though, like a deformed midget, but we don't really see him. He's just cloaked.
Look like a deformed midget.
That's
we'll
what
see.
rattlings are.
There's probably gonna be a psyker. I'd be shocked if there isn't a playable psyker that just plays a lot like Sienna, where it's like, oh, my primary fire is a psychic
This
ability
could
of some
also,
kind.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't have to be just Vermintide with a space skin. They could have more than 4 people.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd had 5. So it could be 5, or potentially more than 5.
I'm down to play it when it comes out.
And
excited about it.
even hopefully it launches kind of like Vermintide 2 with like kind of the sub careers, because you could do a lot of things with that. Because then, yeah, you could have a guardsman, and then he could be also a commissar, or
Catachin or some shit.
or also a stormtrooper. Ooh, a Catachin would be cool. Yeah.
You get to run around as Rambo. Let's fucking go, dude.
Like fucking maybe even a tech marine in this, or a tech priest, not tech marine.
Yeah.
But,
I do hope that there's like no Space Marine representation. I would very much like it to just be
fucking god, what are they? The fucking the sisters that just have like no armor and just run around with fucking
Repenta.
eviscerators.
Yeah, Sister Repenta.
That would be sick.
But that would be a cool thing you could do with the fucking opposite career paths. Like if there's a Sister of Battle in this game, then maybe she could also be like that
Yeah, she
with
could.
a different
Yeah,
career.
you start as a
She could be
sister,
like-
and then she could become either a Repenta or the crazy ones that akimbo with jetpacks. Yeah,
Seraphims.
yeah, seraphims.
That'd be sick as fuck. Or she could be like maybe there's one that makes her more of like a what were the sergeant equivalents for sisters called?
Oh
I don't
god.
One that basically had like power sword in one hand and pistol in the other, and then maybe there could be some like neat mechanics with that.
Mhm.
Fuck, dude. I'm digging. I can't.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But yeah, these are the things that
Yeah.
they could do with like career path system. I'm excited about this game. I hope it's good. Did they say in the trailer for this that it was going to be console launch exclusive?
I have no idea.
It was after like the one they say console launch exclusive before is Stalker 2, and I don't know if they implied that all the ones after that were console launch exclusive, or if it was just Stalker 2.
I'm looking. It says the Xbox Series X and Steam.
Okay.
That's all I see.
It says it's coming out on PC in 2021. I just wonder if it's like timed and will only be on Xbox for a little bit, or if it's gonna come out.
I don't think so. If it's coming out on PC 2021, like that would be like 6 months
Yeah,
of
you-
exclusivity. Like that they
you
would
would've
have to. There'd
Give
be.
it like a year.
They didn't show any gameplay, but it's coming out in a couple of months. Like no way. That's my assumption. Anything
excited
else,
about it.
or should we mosey? We actually
I
have
guess
to.
we could move.
Yeah, we have to get moseying quick here. So, Sony invests $250 million into Epic. So, I think the way I
Stop.
put it when this news first came out was that the monkey paw wish of Bloodborne on PC just started to curl. Uh, because honestly, like that's not for these billion-dollar companies, 250 million isn't like they didn't get a huge fucking stake out of it. But I mean, there's been nothing but rumors of Sony bringing its stuff to PC, and if Microsoft is going Steam and they really want to keep that competitiveness, who knows who approached who, but seeing the great console war extend to the PC war of Steam versus Epic, it's almost poetic.
It's not poetic. It's sad.
It will
For
never
someone
end.
like
Don't you spread your war into my peaceful lands,
for
Sony and Xbox.
someone like me who doesn't give a fuck about all this platform nonsense, if Bloodborne comes out on PC but it's Epic exclusive, I will get
Fuck
it.
Epic.
on that.
This needs to stop.
Don't you bring your
Um,
wars into these peaceful lands.
However, that being said, while that's kind of an interesting little tinfoil hat to put on, one must also look at the current state of Sony's like PC ports and be like, they haven't announced anything about Horizon Zero Dawn not coming to Steam and going to Epic yet, and you would assume that they would have done that already.
You never
At-
know. There were a lot of games. I remember many Kickstarter games when Epic first came out, where it was like, "We'll see you on Steam, stretch goal," and then there was just like, "Yeah, but that Epic money though."
Yeah, you know what? That's a fair point. Because wasn't Metro Exodus up for pre-order on Steam for like a while before they announced the Epic Store exclusivity? And then people
Yes,
were insane because they were like, "But I pre-ordered it on Steam. Like, what the fuck?"
yes. So it's the same thing happened to MechWarrior 5, except a lot less people care about MechWarrior 5.
Except it wasn't. It didn't make a lot of news sites.
It did piss the fan base off though. All 5 of us.
You know that MechWarrior Online had an event recently.
Yeah. But it doesn't
Live.
matter because the game's dead.
It's kicking Anthony.
No, it's not because they're
Sign up live.
doing events. There has still been no announcement for new mech. It's literally been a year with no new
But they're
content.
doing events. They'll give you gift bags if you play. All right. Please play, please.
I put so much money into that game and it's fucking.
I hate it. Everything has to die eventually.
It's true, especially
Some stuff
me.
dies faster than others.
So yeah, I'm in Richie's camp. I hope that this doesn't happen. I think it would be kind of funny if it does, because it's just you always got to fight over fucking something. Nothing could just be easy. And
Weird proxy war using other companies.
yeah,
War has been brought to these peaceful lands, gentlemen.
sure have. Oh, kind of related.
Peaceful lands is, general term.
Have you guys heard about like GOG Galaxy?
Not at all.
So they're doing the most ingenious kind of funny thing ever, where it's like GOG is fully integrated into the Epic Store, and they're trying to integrate it into the other stores as well. So you turn on GOG Galaxy, you click your game, and then it from there boots the launcher, launches the game, and when you exit out of the game, it closes the game and the launcher. So like we now have a platform for distribution platforms. Like that's what GOG Galaxy is.
It's so fucking stupid.
Oh yes.
Very.
It's so stupid.
Speaking of
Very.
stupid things, games are probably going to cost $70 going forward.
Yeah, let's talk about this. This is something I was actually really excited to talk about. Shall we talk about this?
It's
Who-
fucking
who-
bullshit.
What's everyone's opinion on this?
Bullshit.
Why?
The industry can't pretend that things haven't gotten easier and cheaper just because they have terrible money management and bloated marketing. That, oh, we have to increase the price of games. Oh,
All right. Oh,
like, game price hasn't gone up, but inflation has. Yeah, but everything's digital now. Like 90% of your sales literally cost you nothing.
No.
It's pure profit.
I need to just know something real quick before jumping into this. Like, where has this been said?
2K is charging. I actively have announced that they're going to charge. Is it a rumor, or did they actively announce that they're charging $70
They
for the
actively
next
announced.
NBA? Okay, the next NBA 2K game is going to be $70.
And
On next gen.
there's been a big even before this was announced. There's been I'm of the opinion most game journalist websites are in bed with each other, and yeah, there's a lot of articles where it's like things should be $70 because of
Yeah, they suck
bad
each other's
arguments.
The game journalists, they can go suck each other off because
There's always other games journalists that don't report on that shit. There are level-headed games journalists out there.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to agree with that. I don't.
Well, I mean, I don't mean game journalists and like specific people, but I mean like the companies. And I mean, when it comes to a business that is just information, especially online, like it's hard for that not to happen. Like I understand why it is the way it is. It doesn't mean I like it, you know. But
understanding is
yeah.
not accepting. My view. I understand. Doesn't mean I accept.
But yeah, so what's your
Absurd.
take on the $70 games?
I can't stand it. I think it's fucking. I
I'm just waiting
highly
for sales
doubt.
to plummet. Like they're gonna have less people willing to buy their games to try it out, and they're gonna fucking feel it in their bottom line.
I can't have this explained to me in any way to justify increasing the cost of games by $10. It doesn't make sense. I don't think costs of creating games is going to go up that massively between the Xbox One, PS4, and like the new consoles to justify this.
No, it's
It just doesn't
a
make
cash grab.
sense.
Video games are literally a bigger business than movies. They're pushing profit number. It's not like profits have shrunk. They've exponentially grown.
All right. Can we talk about the fucking? I'm getting up on one knee right now. Can we talk about the gall for just a moment of a company like 2K with an NBA 2K game to be the first game to do this $10 price increase?
Yeah.
Like the fucking balls on a company who is well known for milking the people who buy these fucking NBA games for every nickel and dime and every cent that they have on fucking garbage microtransactions and horrendous predatory fucking monetization schemes, to be like, oh, but also $10 more, please, for the standard edition of the game. Like, are you fucking high? Like if you could have made this a little more palatable if it was a company that was like making a normal game that's not going to be bloated with horrendous microtransactions, I'd still disagree and be like, no, this is fucking stupid. But the balls of someone like 2K with this game in particular to ask for $70 is fucking insane.
Yeah, like sports games smash records like every year, and mostly what they're doing is just like stat accuracies. They're updating that type of stuff, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on under the hood. I haven't bought a sports game since like 2004, so I'm not the one to talk about it. But yeah, it's like it's well known, like them, EA, like they're the ones where like that really turned loot boxes into gambling, where it's like we will give you better stats and guys and stuff, and it's like, oh, but we need more money because of, oh man, the cost of developing these games. Oh boy. It's like, fuck off.
It's just fucking weird.
It's silly. Like you said, like these things are getting so much cheaper to do. And
Do you think
now they get a $10 price increase?
Does anyone think, like, I legitimately wonder what this is. Is this actually indicative of a $10 price increase for all next-gen titles to come? Or is this just a shit company like 2K testing the waters and dipping their little pee-pee in the pond to see, like, what are people going to do if we ask for 70, can we get away with it?
My-
Can we set
my
a new
hot take-
standard?
Yeah, I think it's just a shit company. I don't know if other developers are gonna follow suit on
I
this,
think everyone's gonna
unless it works.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I wonder, because we haven't seen, has any other next gen title put out a price yet?
I don't think so.
I'm so fucking curious. Like, is this 2K just being like, can we push for $70? Or is this them accidentally kind of letting loose the goose of like, this is what you're going to be buying. This is what you're going to be spending for every game you buy for this next gen and
Can-
onward.
Can I take a second and just like cut off the head of an argument that I've been seeing a lot where it's like, oh, the reason that they have all those predatory practices and that anti-consumer stuff is just, to cover the cost. If we increase the price of the game by $10, then we'll be doing less of that. It's like you're lying through your teeth. You're not like, and I've seen people come into bet where it's like, I'd much rather play $10 than and get rid of that. And honestly, you know what? I'm in that camp too. If terrible DLC and microtransactions and stuff could disappear for $10 a game, I'd gladly pay that cost. But I am
But-
not
only
naive
gonna be
enough to
added on top.
pretend that they would disappear.
Yeah.
What they're
You
gonna
would have to
do
be
is like
delusional.
they'll knock 1 penny off the price and say, "Look, we're so good. We've
Pat
made your
ourselves on the back."
DLC cheaper."
We've literally seen, like, we have the numbers to prove that these horrendous monetization schemes that make their way into most games nowadays are profitable, massively profitable, like insanely profitable. To think that just because companies will start charging $10 more for each game, that all that shit's just suddenly gonna poof and disappear, and like EA is not going to push for horrendous microtransactions in any other games anymore, and 2K is not going to push for horrendous microtransactions. That's like, it's delusional. That's not the way this fucking business works.
I'm gonna sound like an old man for a second here, but it's like these kids don't, how like the classic, these kids don't know how good they have it. This is the exact opposite. It's like you have no idea how much you're getting fucked over because you grew up where it was like $60 to get a game, and then even in there was like a code, otherwise you couldn't play online at all. Like, I remember as a kid going to the store, spending $30 for this giant cardboard box PC game, and it has Velcro on it and like crazy art and embossing on every side, and then I open the box and there's a full color like 200-page booklet of like lore and stories, and
Great.
sometimes they give you a map and like a little medallion, and here's the CD jewel case and it's on 27 CDs, and it's like that managed to launch the most profitable industry that has ever been seen. And you're
now-
telling me now, where ads can be digital, you can pay a couple of cents for Google for it to be on a splash page or before a YouTube video, where you don't even have to manufacture discs or boxes. There hasn't been a gameplay guide in forever. Now there was a point where it was cards that had controls and then those disappeared, so it's just a plastic case and a CD. And even then, most of your sales now are completely digital. The new consoles coming out, there are versions without disc drives. It's like, and for you to have the gall to say, while making profits every year, and to say we need
Lots
to
of
increase
profit.
the price, you should be fucking burned at the stake.
It's like I said a while ago, indie games are the way of the future.
I hope
Companies are
so,
gonna-
dude.
Indie games are gonna rise. As much as I love big AAA games like Borderlands and shit like that, because I love the games themselves, Mass Effect, Borderlands, all games I love. Companies just suck so much dong.
There's still some decent like AAA devs out there. Usually devs that don't have horrendous publishers behind them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's the real thing.
but it
And I'll even say
feels like it's
Borderlands
getting
doesn't do it
fewer and
that
farther
bad.
between.
Borderlands doesn't even do it that bad. They got like all their cosmetics is like just play our game. You got some DLC packs, but they're relatively okay. They're like $10 for an actual like 3 hours of extra gameplay, and then it just adds on. You can play it with your friends. It's not terrible.
It's like there's things like, whether or not you want to consider them like true AAA. I don't think anyone out there in the world is going to argue that FromSoft is a small indie developer. So like you
Nah,
still have
they've been
companies,
a AA studio forever, yeah.
you still have companies like them who are kind of knocking it out of the park, but that's also because they don't have people like EA behind them, getting them to shove their fucking games full of trash. And the one game FromSoft has that did get published by a trash company in Activision was still pretty good and wasn't full of horrendous garbage. So like bigger budget games can still be good, but like this $70 horseshit is nonsense. And if this is the new standard going forward, I'll be buying a lot less fucking full price games. I'll tell you what,
Some of my favorite
because I
games
can't
I've been
support
playing
that shit.
recently- Some of my favorite games recently have been indie games. Scrap Mechanic. Freaking Risk of Rain wasn't an indie game, but
It's
Friggin' that was
kinda
well-
indie. I mean,
kind of.
it's
Can you
small,
fucking
is the
can you
thing.
imagine if
Well-
like Elden Ring comes out next year and it's like $70?
Well, okay, From Software has me by the balls. They could shit in a
Still,
box and I'll probably pay
but
$90
still,
for it.
that sucks though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it really sucks. Like even for a game that I know is probably going to be good and that I'm probably going to get, that still pains me to think about it being like $10 extra for literally no reason.
You know what? And even
Just
we
because
gotta.
that's the new standard.
But not only that, we gotta feel bad. Like we're in a weird position of privilege where it's like I've seen Canadian and like Australian prices where it's like already $100 for a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
poor schmucks, you're gonna have to pay even
Are you
more.
ready to get fucked?
Like Jesus.
Drop them pants, boy.
Sea of Thieves even was made by developer was called Rare Ltd. $40.
Yeah, rare.
Xbox
Oh my
published it.
god.
But rare, what? Are you going, oh my god, because... Why are you saying, oh my god?
Cause like what's rare?
Yeah.
Like they're like no-name developers. But
No,
they're
they're
Are they?
not. No, they're not.
I have no
Rare,
idea. What Rare is.
Rare's ancient. They made Banjo and Kazooie back in the day. And the problem is Microsoft bought them and they don't let them out of the basement, so they don't get to make anything.
I'm fucking
Um,
crying.
I have no.
I'm laughing so hard.
Anthony is younger. He's much younger than us.
That is true. I am.
Okay, he doesn't know. He doesn't know about the Kazooie. This is what we have to deal with. We're getting ancient and dusty.
This
all right?
audio is gonna be trash.
We're getting ancient and dusty, Anthony.
Leave me alone. I'm a young boy.
No,
We're
it's not.
recording cobwebs.
It's not your fault because I know Rare has like done nothing but been whipped in a basement for like 10 years. So
They're not even allowed to work on their own games. Microsoft was like, "Hey, we're gonna make a new Killer Instinct," and Rare like bubbled up, and they got really excited, and then like Microsoft threw it at Double Helix, and Rare cried in the basement as they kept getting whipped.
oh, I hope like half of that audio is useful. Oh God.
Yeah, before. Oh God. Now I just googled them to look even further in their history. Yeah, they haven't made anything with their actual name in a long ass time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
because they got sent to the fucking sweatshop where all they did
No
was
wonder I
Salt
make
don't know
mines.
Connect.
them.
They made Connect games, I think,
made-
didn't they?
They were
Yeah.
in Battletoads.
Thank you,
shit.
Robbie. Thank you so much.
Hey, I did something good today, I guess.
All right. Speaking of something good, well, anyone else have before I move on?
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, $70 game. It's
Oh,
trash.
we're growing old.
Yeah, we are. It's trash, and I hope it doesn't
broke my age
happen.
today, people. I am the youngest camel.
It's fine. It's fine.
Your $70 game, I'll just keep getting Dota items.
Yo, you're gonna do that regardless of whether or not they stay at 60 or 70.
All right. So let's lightning round the rest of this quick and wrap this this sucker up. All right, so biggest first lightning round bit is Cyberpunk is losing features left and right. The first one that had traction was the wall running, which I'm still not sure if it's just wall running or like the mantis blades are out completely. I have no idea. It's very little information. Car customization gone. Just announced today or yesterday, dual wielding akimbo, even though it's on the collector's edition statue, not gonna be in the game. And it's making
Wow.
people a little nervous when you're hearing. I remember months ago when they're like, the game's like 90% done, we're just polishing, and now it's like delay, cut features. It's a bit concerning.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. I don't like it. But I gotta keep that hope. The game's still gonna be good.
As long as they still have customizable genitalia.
Oh,
You
that's
gotta keep
not
that in.
going away, dude.
That's where all the budget went.
There's no way that's going away. I need to
All
have
right,
my
Jeff.
micro penis.
Jeff, you could program a penis, a vagina, a penis vagina, or you could hold two pistols. And Jeff was like, Jeff put on that Coomer face and was like, I know.
But so, honestly,
And his much larger right hand picked that lever and pulled it.
I don't get why. These seem like features. All right, the wall running one, yeah, but like car customization and like dual wielding, that doesn't seem like features that would take too much work.
I can understand car,
I,
especially if it impacts performance, but dual wielding,
Mhm.
yeah, is the one. The only way I kind of see it is that unless there was like a dedicated dual wield gun, which feels lame, as opposed to just equipping two different
Dual
pistols
wielding?
in each hand, you
Yeah.
know, where it's like, here are the akimbo pistols, and those are the only akimbo pistols. Because they have like the weird guns doing weird things. Like there's the smart guns that kind of like bend around and stuff. So I could see it kind of hard to integrate multiple of those. I don't know if there's alt fire stuff in the game. So I can understand it not
True.
being the
Honestly-
easiest, but I could also it
Yeah,
also
and
seems
honestly-
like the easiest of things to implement. So it is shocking.
I don't really care. I don't really care if they have akimbo guns in the game, as long as the guns they have are interesting and cool. But it, you know, car customization, really? I can't customize my fucking paint job. Like that's a hard feature to implement.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
that's just a
frightening.
They spent
texture.
all of their textures and graphicals on the genitals.
Secretly, they're like, man, Rona Apocalypse, making working on this shit really hard. We have to cut some of these features. We're sorry, guys. But actually, what's happening is they're like, hey, what small things can we pluck from the game and then sell them as DLC later on?
Don't even.
First
Oh
DLC, if you buy it, you get the
wall
full
running. Fucking akimbo guns.
Wall running
DLC.
Car
You get the
customization.
full, you get the full
Oh,
car
man.
customization suite in the fucking first DLC. Second
No, no, no.
DLC,
Hold
hey,
on.
there's like an augment that lets you wall run. Third
No.
DLC,
That's
hey
an
man, you want some
item.
fucking dual wheel?
We have to go more cancerous. This is you're thinking too small. All right,
Oh yeah.
you can't
Big
paint
brand.
you can't paint your car, but you can get some epic skins out of this loot box.
Oh no.
Shut your whore mouth. No more
This
talk.
cyber crate.
Next thing. Next thing. Next topic.
Okay. Yeah. Fallout to get a TV show on Netflix by the makers of Westworld.
No, no. Amazon.
Oh, Amazon, sorry.
Amazon Prime, baby.
Unless it's in like the cartoon style that Fallout has, I'm not interested.
I'm excited.
I'm interested.
I'm excited to see if it's a trash fire.
I would love a Fallout animated series in its own like little Pit Boy cartoon style.
That would actually be really good. Yeah,
Yes,
I
it
would
would be.
I would watch the shit
I
out
would
of that.
be fucking really interested in that.
There
My
is
favorite comments and shit that I've seen
Netflix, get
people
on that, because
my favorite-
Netflix, I know you'll do it justice.
my favorite comments I've seen people make about this on like YouTube videos about it and shit is like, will this show release with like a day one patch to stop it from being horribly broken? Will the actors be falling through the floor and their faces contorting?
it
That's funny.
it is interesting to try to think about, and I don't want to talk about this too much, but try to like actually wrap your head around like a Fallout TV show, because Like, it could be anywhere in America. It could be anytime. It could be pre-war. It could be just in a vault
Post.
the entire show. It could
That's
be
true.
out in the
I feel like it'd be
wasteland.
boring.
There's a lot of potential.
I
For
feel it would be boring
things.
just in a vault.
It could.
Can I get you really?
It could be one of those
can I get
weird
you-
vaults where shit just goes south real quick.
True.
Can I get you really nervous for a moment?
I already am, so go ahead.
Okay, so I believe I could be talking out of my ass here, but because I heard this on the Castle Super Beast podcast, and we all know how sometimes people like Pat from said podcast can be completely wrong about what they're saying.
But
so
with
take this with a grain of
conviction.
salt. But yeah, wrong with conviction. I believe I had heard them say that they Googled it as they were recording the podcast, and I believe in an executive producer position is one Todd Howard. So he's on the board for this show.
You see
Yeah,
that?
that's worrying.
You see that? You see that show? You could watch it.
You can watch it.
Oh my god!
See that episode? You can stream it.
Fucking Todd Coward, the master of lies,
Todd Cow.
is making a show. Oh
Tell
boy.
me lies.
Now,
Well, he's
all right,
paying for it.
Let
He's
me-
in a
let me
producer
rephrase that.
position.
it's worrying. But maybe he's just there for continuity issues, like, oh, this
Yeah.
makes sense in the universe, blah, 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 blah.
But a man like Todd Howard having an investment as a producer does mean that he might have a say.
I'm just
certain
looking
thing.
forward to maybe a year from now. Obsidian launches its TV show, which is just the same thing but better.
But better. Without the day one patch.
All right. Next is Risk of Rain gets an actual launch date, and there's concept artist of this cool commissar-looking dude who's gonna be the last survivor.
I figured out who he was, by the way.
Oh, go ahead.
I figured out his name. He is the captain of the dropship.
Hey. What is it?
Uh,
What is the name of that shipping ship? The Arc Light or the Last Light?
Something like that. He is the captain of the ship. He will be using a rifle shotgun as the common.
Oh, Rip Enforcer and Bandit. God damn it.
And he will be a support guy, sending healing and armor drop pods or something like that.
Neat.
How you unlock him, no one fucking knows. And there is an actual end now. The end boss is on the moon. You will be going to the moon.
Oh, what's
Got
his
moon.
name? Proteus or
Moon
something?
presence.
Something
Probably.
something with a P.
Probably the final guy from Risk of Rain run.
Oh yeah. If he's anything like he was in the first Risk of Rain, that's gonna be a nightmare of a fight.
And everyone's hoping you don't have to beat him to get to the captain.
It
Because
would
everyone
be
wants to play him.
that makes sense.
And there's a new Luna item being added. But no one knows what it does.
Buy Risk of Rain, it's fun.
Buy it now, because as soon as it becomes once it hit 1.0, the price increases.
Price hike.
$70.
I think it increases by like $5.
To
But if you wanna
$70.
save $5.
Nintendo hack. So a long time ago, I talked about a hack on Nintendo, a bunch of data leaked, and it was like weird stuff, source code files, whatever. Well, I'm not sure if it's the same hack and just more stuff has been kind of decrypted, or if it is been another breach of security, but it's a lot more fun stuff. We are getting like the other one was a lot of just code, where this is like unfinished or like scrapped assets, and so there's like prototype Link models for like the first Zelda Ocarina of Time and Yoshi's World stuff, DS stuff. There's even weird like production photos like of like prototype DS commercials that never aired. A lot of fun stuff, and it's still being decoded. So you're gonna be hearing this coming into the news for years and years and years of just like, oh, someone figured out this and we've got this out of it, and it's very, very cool. I suggest if you have some free time, look into some of that because it's cool. Far Cry 6 was leaked.
Leaked?
Yeah, well, not like the game, but like that it's coming out and whatnot. and is in development and production photos and things of that nature.
There a trailer?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I think the leak was from before the
Yeah, it
trailer.
was for, again, 3 months, or three months, oh god, 3 weeks.
There was a leak, and then the trailer happened, and this all happened when we weren't recording.
Gustavo Fring is up to no good, and
Started making trouble in
in
my
the
neighborhood.
You got one little fight. Anyway, the kid, there's
Not
symbolism
Voss.
on
He's
the
not
box art.
Voss.
Do we know that though?
Yeah.
He
Do we
says
know
his
for
name.
sure?
He says his name in the trailer.
That doesn't. But what
That
if he gets
doesn't
like a
mean anything. You
nickname
can change the
later?
name. What is the name of the title?
All right, but
I was
like,
gonna mention that his collar looks like devil horns on the kid, but
Could be Ross.
continue. But continue.
I mean that's it. I mean it's
Oh.
coming out. This
One
is-
quick thing.
Hey, who knows? Maybe is Voss. They take a complete 180.
Yeah.
I think I'm excited just because I really like God, his name. I see it, but I don't remember what's his name.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, they have. I really like him. He does look like he's just playing Gus Fring though, but like as leader of a country, supporting
seen the
fascism.
trailer.
and then he
But-
pulls
but,
out the dark saber. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing. Like I said, I like him, and I'm excited just to see Gus Fring rule a country as an evil fascist dictator.
And inevitably die, maybe, and then somehow the kid's name changes to Voss, and it's like, says Stinger, it's Voss.
And then he has a sister, and they go to
Prequel.
like a freaking Polynesian island, and then run a tribal civil war.
Yes. Anyway.
The definition of insanity.
This one I don't actually know about. Update on the Dr. Disrespect news.
I actually haven't kept up with that at all.
The last thing I heard was just like he spoke out. He still doesn't know what happened, but I don't know if there's been an update.
This was kind of interesting. He did an interview with PC Gamer. Apparently, they got a hold of him. It's been weeks since I read the actual article, so I might fuck details up. But the most interesting takeaway from it was that as they were asking him questions, he was basically explaining that he still doesn't know why Twitch banned him, even to this day. And he is potentially going to pursue legal action, which is kind of exciting. There might be a lawsuit.
Nice.
Get hype.
We'll be on that, and if we hear anything, we'll update you guys.
I feel like there was something else he said, but I don't have time to go back and read the fucking article at the moment.
I read one a while ago where I basically heard the same thing. It's so interesting. I want to know what he did.
Died in
like-
jail.
Well,
The whole fucking world wants to know.
everyone wants to know what
Everyone
happened.
wants to know what happened.
It's like I want to know what did he do that he himself doesn't even know what he's banned for? Like that's crazy to me.
Here you go. The PC Gamer guy says specifically, he says, in reference to the fact that he doesn't know what happened, he says, that seems crazy to me. To ban one of its most famous popular streamers and then to not even tell them what they did wrong. And the two-time responds with, yeah, that's the kind of the mind-blowing thing about all of this. Obviously, for legal counsel, I have to be careful here. But I can say, however, that I will not be returning to Twitch. So, I mean, that's it. Very interesting. He talks in a way where he's trying to make it seem like he has absolutely no idea why he got banned, but then he's like, yeah, I'm definitely not returning to Twitch at all, and this will not be worked out in a way where I do, and I might sue them. God, I want to know what happened. I want to know,
We'll find out in the courts.
One day.
or we might not.
Or yeah.
right.
There's a settlement and closed doors.
I
And
feel
who
like it's
knows.
only a matter of time before that shit gets leaked.
I believe that's everything, isn't it?
No, there's Tencent decides to stop buying studios and just launches its own in California.
Right.
I cannot remember what the name is. Oh well. I mean, whatever. Who knows? They might be less cancerous than EA. And G4 is coming back. Yay! Only I care.
For this.
Yeah.
G4. It's where Adam Sessler Just-
No, I know what it is. I said who asked for it.
oh, wow. But yeah, it'll be neat. The big question about it is they're like, we're coming back. See you next year, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
are they really going back to TV? Because TV's kind of dead. Is this just going to be a streaming thing? Like, what is this?
The only thing I liked a lot about G4 back in the day, I used to watch it on occasion, and the only thing I liked about it was that early on, Olivia Munn was on it, and she was really hot, and that was about it. That's my only memory of G4. It's my only positive memory.
All right.
It is positive, and that is the cast. Good to be
Thank
back.
you guys for listening.
All of you.
We're back.
I hate you all.
Bitches.
Bye bye.
Bye.